Hello and welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose, and I'm here with some wonderful special guests today, Lorraine Butterfield and Dr. Ruth Anderson. This week we're going to discuss a topic that's, I think, very relevant at this time of monumental change, which is awakening to our deeper identities. As an introduction, Lorraine is a transformative energy healer and psychic, and Ruth is one of the creators, as many people here probably know, of Enlightened World Network. So we expect our time together to be very enlightening and inspiring, and I'm so looking forward to it. And hoping also both of you can say a little bit more about how you fit into all of this as we go along in our conversation. To begin, we're going to discuss what it means to be awakening to our deeper identity, which is maybe different for each of us, but I think that there's a common thread that we're sensing through it also. Many of us are experiencing growth in areas where we didn't even know we didn't know they existed, and we didn't know that they were coming or that they had anything to do with why we're here. And then they become a central focus, which is very interesting. I think we're being guided to embrace ways of beings that are greatly expansive in terms of our beliefs and perspectives on reality, which also is challenging. And we're going to discuss that too, because it can be very poignant at times. So overall, I expect a very lively conversation. These profound changes are enlightening, fulfilling, and as I mentioned, challenging. And to guide us, Lorraine will also be blessing us with a special meditation, which is mysterious to us right now. We'll find out as we go along. And I think that's one of the things I like about the circle, is that we don't have a script. This is the whole plan. And we're just going to allow it to flow in its own way. So I'm looking forward to what's going to emerge. As always, I want to thank everyone who's joining us for being emissaries of love and light, because I think, as an overview, it's such an important thing for all of us at this time of our, what I call it, the Great Awakening, being with the Awakenings Institute. But I think all of us know it's a time of tremendous change. So I want to remind you to please introduce yourself and say hello, and feel free to comment. I have to bring my comments back. There we are. It always flips me into Facebook for some reason. Anyhow, I also want to just take a brief moment as we begin to just breathe and center ourselves and invite the angels and beings of light to join us in our conversation. So if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, we're just going to do very briefly, breathing in a few beautiful breaths from the universe, the light and love from the universe and all those beings who are supporting us. And as you exhale, you can just release and let go. I think it's so interesting how just a few breaths can bring us more into our bodies, and we can be more present together. It feels great. And with that, I'd like to turn to you, Lorraine, and ask you to share a bit about your perspective on this topic of awakening to our deeper identities.
Hi, Jane. Thank you for inviting me on here. Yeah, it's an interesting subject, isn't it? Okay, so I'm fairly new at stepping into these different identities, but I do work with what they call themselves the Arcturian angels, and this came into me about 18 months ago, and this was a very new concept for me. I've been in business doing my own spiritual work for about 10 years now, and I've always worked with angels and guides who, you know, like a lot of us here, that felt very familiar and very comforting to be around. And then I was working with someone who just said to me, you know, you can channel light language. And I went, okay. And they went, light language, okay. And they went, just go with it, allow it. And that's how it started. The channel, so I channel sounds. They work with me, and what they did with me was showed me that they wanted to work with the chakra system, healing and aligning the chakra system with the sounds that they brought in, which I think is quite unique. I don't know that anyone else does it, and if they do, I'm just not aware of it. But I don't believe I'm just the one. I believe there's probably many others that are channeling to do that. They're probably just not aware of it yet, or they're on the cusp of doing it. But it felt really odd, and you know, when they told me they were called Arcturian angels, that was the strangest thing that I had to get used to. I think it's one of these things that we get used to working with Archangel Michael or Raphael Ariel, and it was like, you can't call yourself an angel. You're from a different planet, you know, because that's how they show me. Well, we're different beings, and I was like, well, this feels really uncomfortable, and I think this was the biggest thing I had to get used to and get over whilst I was working with them, was the fact that they told me, yeah, but there are angels in other dimensions. And that was like, whoa, that's interesting. And I'd always seen, it's really interesting actually, I've always seen these four huge beings that stand at each corner of my house, and I always thought they were archangels. And they said, no, we're the Arcturian angels, we're the ones watching over you. Another interesting fact was when I was very, very little, I was about 7 years old, I remember seeing what you would call a UFO. And I remember being out in the garden and I heard this noise. I was like, why can nobody else hear that or see what I'm seeing? Now, I've moved back to a place, I moved away for many, many years, and I've moved back to a place which is a mile away from that place where I experienced that. And I'm just wondering if it's to do with the area, you know, whereabouts on the planet you are as well.
Yeah.
Because that is just incredible. And I thought about the other day and thought, oh, actually, I had this experience when I was 7. And I wonder if they brought me back round here because this is where I need to be to connect with them. So that feels very key as well. But yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. And I was at one point, it's like, oh, how do I tell people that I channel light language? And that's when I went down the route of exploring star seeds and doing the Akashic records and, you know, what planets we actually originate from. And that is fascinating. So fascinating.
Yeah, it's all really amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah, absolutely. But I think for anyone that is a bit fearful about speaking up, I think it's nice to be in these sort of environments, in circles, with people that actually understand and get it, that are working maybe with different things, but in the same, I was going to say realm, but it's not. It's all sorts of realms we're working with. And it's nice to be supported by people that understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one of the wonderful things about Enlightened World Network for me, that it is a place that embraces and helps us to accept and embrace who we are and to share the gifts that we have with the world. And I know Ruth must have a lot of experiences with so many different people who are opening in ways that cause us to think, well, I must just be insane. How can I possibly even talk about this? Do you want to share a little bit about that?
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that sentence, I think I'm crazy, but I want to tell you this.
You can't let it go either.
No. So Enlightened World Network is a safe place, actually.
It is. It's beautiful.
Safe place for folks to be able to come and say, this is where I am in my spiritual journey, and this is who I am, and this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm putting out into the world. But I want to take you back, Jane and Lorraine. I had shared this with you all the other day. I work mostly with the archangels, and one particular point in my life, I was working a lot with Archangel Azrael, and Archangel Azrael to me is an archangel that helped me understand what happens when we die, what happens when we transition.
Mm-hmm.
In that same stretch of time, through meditation, Archangel Azrael took me to a place that he called the land before lifetimes. And it was this massive space in the ethereal realm that as I looked around this room, I saw all of these little white globs of energy. And he explained to me that those were souls that had not been in a body yet. And most of them were just white, very human, these souls. And others of them were whitish gray. And I said, well, why are those different? What is whitish gray? And he said, they're part human, part angelic. And so I looked, and there were very few of those, but part human, part angelic. And then there are other ones that were white that had a little bit of, it looked, from my human brain, a little piece of metal with them. And I said, well, what are those? And he said, those are part human, part otherworldly. He didn't use the word alien. I personally don't like the word alien, but he said part human, part otherworldly. And then there were others that were a human, angelic, otherworldly hybrid. And so, full disclosure here, I said, and what am I? And he said, I was human, angelic, and otherworldly. And I could embrace the angelic part much easier than I could embrace the otherworldly part. The otherworldly part was like, oh, Lord, what does that mean?
Right.
And then I thought of my parents. And my father was brilliant. He was a valedictorian at MIT, chemistry and physics, but he didn't have a whole lot of people skills. And my father, on the last year of his life, shared all of his life secrets with me, one of them being that he had spiritual experiences where he met other beings and they directed his work over the years. And so I thought, okay, I think I'm seeing this here. I think I probably picked up that otherworldly part from my father. And when I asked my mother about that, she said, I could see that. She said, he definitely followed the beat of a different drummer. And so I thought, okay, I guess I came by this legitimately. So I guess I wanted to lay that foundation for our conversation here, because I would tend to believe a number of the folks that come onto Enlightened World Network are a hybrid of human and angel, human and otherworldly and angel. And I think we know each other when we meet each other, because Lorraine, when I met you, and it wasn't that long ago, it was like, I am home. I know her, my heart knows her, my soul knows her, I trust her implicitly. And Jane, I have that same feeling with you. I've known you for, I think, 3 years now, and I sit with you and I'm home. And my comfort with the soul sisters that I've met at Enlightened World Network in some ways is so much more comfortable than other folks here in the 3D realm. I can tell you guys anything. I can't tell folks everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a comfort with finding who your soul family are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So-
I think it's actually important. It's because without that feeling of being crazy, there's no place, there's nothing to, no way to put it into any kind of perspective and have someone tell you, well, no, that's not actually what it is. It actually is that you're blossoming, that your gifts are coming out. You just didn't understand before what that was about. And if you are in the kind of category that we're in, and I personally feel that probably most of the people like us are otherworldly, are come from different places. You just need to have that kind of a reassurance and sense of love and acceptance. It means so much to me. It's everything, because when I was at that point, especially, and there were a couple times when I thought, well, this is way beyond anything I'm ever going to be able to accept. I was able to get through it, but it was only with the help of others.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with you, Ruth, too, about there are some on this 3D realm where you go to talk and you find yourself holding back because you know they don't get you. I have friends like that, that I meet from time to time, and I know they just don't get it, just from the way they talk and what they talk about. And I go, okay. They just don't get it, and that's fine, because that's their experience. But it's knowing what to say and who to say it to sometimes.
Oh, for sure. It's not just to be out there everywhere, because people will tell you, people will help you to validate that idea that you are crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to be running that program.
No.
But
I wanted to mention briefly, Babs is here. I wanted to say hi to Babs and thank you for joining us. She's one of the people who often come to the circle, and she's a wonderful friend too. So go ahead, Lorraine.
No, I was just going to say it's just knowing who to share this information. So it is nice to be able to meet like this and talk like this. It just feels easy, and you can talk about all the other stuff that's coming in, and it's like people understand me. They know what I mean by downloads and 5D and actually being shown 7D, 7-dimensional energies now, and it's just it's just lovely. It's just lovely that you can talk to people here.
Yeah. And I know Ruth is one of the first people I started talking with about all of these things that were happening. One of the first things that happened, I've been on a spiritual journey for decades. And I think there have been times when I felt like I was kind of waiting around, like I was in a holding mode, waiting for I didn't know what. But probably about 3 years ago, I was one of my friends did an angelic Reiki session with me, and at the end of the angelic Reiki session, Archangel Metatron came through and told me that he wanted to talk to me. And so I thought, okay, I didn't know. I knew who he was. I didn't know that much about it, or I didn't have any relationship particularly to it. But I went into a meditation probably soon. I was very curious and connected with him, and he said that it was time for me to access my full range of resources. I remember that so clearly, because it was about not blocking my connection to the beings who existed in the other dimensions, and as it turned out, with my own source in the other dimensions. But it's been magical. I've developed much stronger connections with the archangels and all these different enlightened beings, and I'm feeling like I'm developing a deeper connection with the earth. And I think that that's part of the future for all of us, that our realities as we move into higher realms ourselves, that our realities on a day-to-day basis do include those connections. And I think probably for all of us here and many others, that's what's happening now, is we're viewing everything from these different perspectives that we didn't even know were available to us.
Yeah, and the information that's coming through it's about trusting it, isn't it, really? Because if you know, and that's been the biggest, I think that's been the biggest thing when I started getting the light language through, and different beings stepping through, because I worked with the Federation just before the Federation of Light, before the so I worked with Commander Ashtar once, and I was like, oh no, why is he coming through for me? Why is he suddenly coming through for me? And then the Arcturian angels, then it was almost like he was coming in to introduce them. And I just, just trusting that process and what that meant, and why they particularly, they brought this light language to it. And I went, well, what do you want me to do with it? I think it said, right. What do you want me to do with this light language? You're giving me this light language. What do you want me to do with it? How do I work with it? What do I, and then they showed me, because I trained in Reiki originally, they showed me that they wanted me to work with the chakras, align the chakras, heal the chakras, and possibly go on to do more physical, because that's what they're showing me now, stepping in more to do more sort of physical healing of physical ailments, which is interesting. That's sort of new for me at the moment. That's not, I'm sort of experimenting with what, when I go into the Akashic Records, they step in with me and they're showing me things. And I'm not a doctor or anything, but they're showing me things that I'm like, okay, I'm just going with this. They're showing me, I'm just trusting this. So it's really interesting and eye-opening. And and there's still parts of me that go, oh, I've got to get used to this, and I've got to go. And every time you get comfortable with the stage, they go, okay, we're going to take you on to the next step. Right. I've just got used to this bit. Right. But yeah, as I've got more comfortable with it, things become easier. And even my children, I talk to them about what I do, and obviously they hear me when I'm doing the light language sometimes, and they go, oh, Mum's doing a but there's a part of them that knows that it works, and there's a part of them that they're not quite ready to accept that bit yet. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe one or all three of them end up doing something along these lines. Who knows? Let the universe decide. Right. Yeah. But yeah, it does make me laugh every time I get comfortable. I think, oh yes, I know what I'm doing now. And they go, oh, we're just going to add this. Okay. Yeah, so trust is the biggest thing, isn't it?
It is. Well, and I do believe we're all on our own individual curriculums.
Yeah, definitely.
And who's going to be the guide to teach you that at any one point? And I learned a long time ago, my guides are no longer human. My guides are the angels or whoever it happens to be at the time. But there is definitely a huge piece of trust in that, Lorraine. And there's also a huge piece of balance in that, because we are living lives in the 3D. We do have families, we do have responsibilities. And so it's an individual decision for each and every one of us, how deep we want to go in that, what we're comfortable with and what we're not comfortable with. And it's really important that you listen to your own inner guidance with all of that, whether it's angels, whether it's otherworldly beings, whether it's ascended masters, or, whatever. You have free will. You are completely in charge of what you are open to experiencing or not. I just think that's really key.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think if you feel really uncomfortable with it, maybe it's something you put to one side until you're ready to fully embrace it and step into it. Because I do think it will keep coming back to you until you're ready. You know that saying, whatever's meant for you will never pass you by. And I do think this is more about the spiritual downloads and gifts that are coming in, and if you're ready to accept them and work with them, it's great. But I do agree with you. If you don't feel comfortable with it, it's not something, just put it on the shelf. Put it on the shelf until you're sort of ready to look at it again. But it will probably come in a different way or a different format. That's usually what you find, isn't it? They show you it one way and they go, okay, you're not ready quite to accept it that way. Well, how about we bring it in subtly this way? So, yeah, it is interesting. And because I know, Ruth, you said about, accepting that there were other worldly beings at one point, having worked with the angels, and I sort of was with you there at one point because I was like, oh, yeah, I agree. It's like I've worked with angels. Who are these other beings coming in? But it's nice because they're showing us that they're all equal, and there's all these different beings with similar. What's the best way to explain it? There's angels in this realm, there's angels in another realm, and they're all sort of coming together. And it's whoever you need at the moment that gets called in. It's really interesting, depending on what your blend is, like you were saying, Ruth, whether you're angelic, other being, human, whatever it is.
Right. And the different origins, if we're from different planets, Sirius or Arcturus or Mintakan, you mentioned Mintakan, that we have different origins. So we have different orientations because of that. So some approaches and some beings may feel right for us and some may not. And it used to be, I would feel, and I still do, I feel very drawn to certain of, for instance, the angels. And I used to think, well, maybe they don't want to connect with me. But then I realized, well, I feel drawn to them for a reason. There is a because there is a connection. And so I think if we're like one of them that I find so extremely delightful all the time is Archangel Raziel. I just think he's the greatest thing. He's a rainbow. I wear rainbow colors. I wear rainbow bracelets. He's not my main focus actually, but he's one of the most joyful of the archangels, and I just adore him. And I did feel at first like, well, maybe I shouldn't be quite so enthusiastic. And I think we are here to embrace those connections that we sense in our hearts when we're coming from a place of genuineness within ourselves, that we need to trust it and realize they want to connect with us. It's not like they're up there saying, well, I don't know about Jane, I don't know if I really like her. That's not what it is. They're just there to love.
Yeah, it's whatever you need, isn't it? Whoever comes in is because you need their love, their energy at that time, so it's whoever. I mean, I'm with you there. I work with Archangel Michael a lot, and I know both of you work with Archangel Michael as well. And and I felt the same. I was like, well, do I work with the archangels so I blend it. I work with both of them, and obviously I work with Merlin as well. I get to work with Merlin a lot. He comes in a lot with me, and it's become a nice, happy balance of all these lovely people coming in.
Right. Yeah, such a blessing.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely. It's lovely, And I remember when I first started working with the angels, I felt, I'm going to admit this, I was like, I don't know whether I'm worthy to work with these archangels. And I honestly, at one point, was like, I can't say that I work with the archangels because I'm not worthy enough of it.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, so I went through that stage as well. I was like, oh no, I'm in denial. I'm not telling anyone who I'm working with because, you know, and I had an experience where they brought in the Christ light. And I was like, how do I tell people like they're bringing in Christ light energy? Because it felt very much like I didn't want to step into a place of ego or saying, oh, look what's happening.
Right.
And it wasn't like that at all. It was that I was being shown these things, and I felt like, oh, only the big gurus get to work with these. And it's just so not true. Everyone has access to other beings, angels, archangels, the masters, whoever it is that comes in. You know, that's what I would say to anyone who's like new on the spiritual path is you're worthy of working with whoever it is that you need to work with. And, you know, really, really know that. And don't be afraid to say that, you know, in the right circles, of course.
Right.
Yes.
That's beautiful, Lorraine. You know, something that came to mind when you were talking about working with the different beings. And one of the things that I do, because sometimes I'll have an energy come in and I think, I don't know if I want to work with you or not. I mean, I really try to surround myself in high vibrational energies. And so if a new entity comes in, I will ask Divine Mother, the Christ consciousness, Archangel Michael, to be with me. And if that other being isn't in that same high vibration, it goes away. And so they're my safe keepers of the high vibrational being. So it's very helpful. And to me, that's part of it. Because I have been in front of the Galactic Federation, and I had Michael and Divine Mother and the Christ Consciousness there in the same room. So I know that they work in tandem.
Right.
But I don't, and this is just me speaking, I don't want to be in front of the Galactic Federation without them because they're just that important to me. So I don't know, it's just interesting.
Yeah, no, I wonder if that's sort of Michael is my safety net then, because he always comes in whenever I'm channeling the Archer and Angels. He will generally come in as well. It probably might be my safety, you know, might be that, so I'm maintaining that frequency. I wonder if that's it. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when I worked with the Galactic Federation and then Commander Ashtar came in, Michael always came in with him, but it wasn't something. It was just whatever was channeling, whatever was coming through. So that's interesting. I like the idea that that's about maintaining that light frequency.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Speaking of which, it's time for the meditation. Are you ready, Lorraine?
Yes, I am. Okay. So if everyone's sat comfortably, okay, we're going to place our hands on our heart. And we're just going to close our eyes. And I just want you to feel the energy of your heart and all that love coming through the palms of your hands. And just feel the warmth of your hands on your heart center. And we're going to just take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. And we're just going to take another deep breath in. And exhale. And just bring ourselves into center. And just allow roots now to grow from the soles of your feet. The front, the back, the sides. And take them out nice and wide and deep. Allow them to spread and grow into Mother Earth. Allow them to get deeper and wider, sending them right down into the core of the earth. And in the center of the earth, you'll see a beautiful ball of light. And this energy is the energy of love, light, and truth. And I want you to just connect your roots into the energy, this beautiful white ball of energy. And we're going to bring that energy up your roots, allowing it to flow up into the soles of the feet, and just feel that pull as your feet are grounding. And allow that light energy now to rise up your legs, into your knees, flowing up into your hips, into your lower spine. And just bring that light energy all the way through the core of you, all the way through your heart center, up to your shoulders. And allow it to flow down your arms to your fingertips. You're going to send beautiful light energy up to the top of your crown. And through your crown, allowing it to expand up to the creator of all that is. We're going to bring in the guides now on our right. And they're sending the energy of love, light, and truth through your heart center to the left. And on the left, you'll see the angels and the archangels as they send this beautiful white light of love, light, and truth through your heart center to the right. And behind you, you'll feel the presence of the ancestors, who send the energy of love, light, and truth through your heart center forward. And in front of you, you'll see your future self, future generations, who send the energy of love, light, and truth through your heart center, through to your back. And I want you to just see yourself as this beautiful light energy now. And see your energy expanding. And just see yourself leaving the physical body as you rise higher and higher into the sky. And as you look down, you can see the physical being grounded on Mother Earth. And just feel the freedom within you as you grow taller and taller. And as you look around you, you'll see the stars and the planet and the moon. And you're in your super conscious state. And just feel and breathe into that. And just see your light being energy. Okay, so we're going to work with an Arcturian angel today who's stepping in. And her name is Venus. And she works with heart energy. But she's also going to work with the fragmented parts of our soul. So just take a look at your energy, make sure, and just see if there are any parts of your energy that you now need to bring back into you. So you might see bits of light that aren't quite connected in. So she's just coming in to bring that in and reconnect that. So she's going to do that with light language. So just allow yourself to see what happens as she brings in the sound. Here we go. Just allow that energy now reconnecting. Okay, but what Venus has really come in to do today is she's come in to open the heart chakra and connect all of us here in this circle of light and love and all light beings that join. Okay, and open that heart chakra right up. So in she comes. Here we go. Okay, it's beautiful. And what she's showing me is releasing any heavy energies around the heart that have been blocking that chakra, opening that out. And what you might have seen is lights of connection leaving the heart center. Okay, just allow yourself to be, just take in the energy of who you are in this moment. Okay, so your energy should feel nice and light and bright. And what we're going to do now is bring this energy back down into the physical body. So just seeing your energy moving downward, shrinking smaller and smaller, reconnecting with the physical body on earth. This new energy that has opened out the heart chakra and reconnected those parts of your soul that felt fragmented. Bringing it down now. Now you might see different colours because they're showing me all sorts of different colours. As you bring this energy down into the physical body. And allow all these beautiful coloured lights to come down over your face, your head, bringing it down your chest, and your arms to your fingertips, ripple it down your back, all the way down into your hips. And bring this energy through every cell of your being, down your knees to the tips of your toes. We're going to ground and anchor this. We're sending it down through the soles of the feet, allowing it to flow along the roots, right into the center of the earth. And the news tells us this has been a beautiful heart activation and reconnection. Just going to thank her as she steps back. I want to just take a nice deep breath in and release. Just take another deep breath in and release. And just sit and bathe in this energy. But whenever you're ready, allow yourself to wiggle your fingers, your toes. And then you can open your eyes and come back into the moment.
Lorraine, her energy is beautiful.
Yeah, excellent. Sorry, just had a moment then. Right, yeah. She's just yeah, it is definitely otherworldly. It's just that she feels so gentle. I get some of the Arcturian angels that come in are very, very powerful, and she is just so gentle and reconnecting us and opening our hearts out and allowing us to follow our heart and bring it back in.
Wow, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
It was beautiful. Something very unexpected happened to me, and I can only think it was because I was in a place where I wouldn't reject it, which is, my father died in 2003. He was an alcoholic, and it was a really difficult time. And I never felt like I got to be with him in the way I would want to before he died. He came to me. I haven't seen him since in all these years. And he came and he said, and part of it was he didn't understand. And he would tell me that he would tell me actually that what I was doing is the craziest thing he ever heard. This was back in the 1990s even. And so it was really difficult because I also know that we were very close, and I know I have a deep connection with him spiritually, but he was very wounded. But he came and he said, "I understand."
Oh, Jane, that's beautiful. Oh, goodness me, that's very powerful. Gosh,
It is. It was completely out of the blue.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
And now I feel like I'll connect with him more. But that was, like I said, completely unexpected and very beautiful.
Wow. Gosh, I feel very honoured to have been a part of that. So thank you for sharing.
Well, it was, I think opening, just having that opening in my heart. And I think being in a place with the two of you where maybe I don't have an opportunity to think about it or to reject it, or just maybe I just am very open and I'm not in a place where I would question it. But it was very real to me.
There's two things, Jane, that come to mind with that. And one is that our loved ones who have passed are with us, right? That's so evident. And the other thing that comes to mind is that when we transition out of our bodies, our spirits are very much still alive and still learning and growing and having experiences. And so, maybe your father has had additional experiences where now he can understand.
Right.
That what you were bringing to the table was legitimate, if you will, that he's got a basis for understanding it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I did feel that he was in, you could say he was in training, or he was in a healing process that he was taken aside. My mother has been with me pretty much all along since she died, but he hasn't been at all. And my brother, who also died of alcoholism at a fairly early age, I haven't seen him. I still haven't seen him.
The other thing that came through then, because I knew she wanted to do heart, she told me she was going to come in and do heart healing, and I wonder if that energy just needed, the wound of that just needed to shift to allow that to come in, and now it might lead to other members of the family coming through. That's interesting, isn't it? It's so beautiful, Jane.
Really beautiful. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love it. I love it. Wow, so powerful.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this work, isn't it?
Well, and that's why we come together like this, is that we have the opportunity. I think that really we have the opportunity in a place like this of just being together, of uplifting ourselves and all of the people who are joining us, that they have an opportunity to be uplifted in their own way too. And then we all open more to the blessings we are to the world.
Yeah,
And it's almost, to me, it's not like you have to try, like, oh, I'm going to send love to the world. It's like, it's there. You're radiating it. It's there now. And I think with that beautiful meditation, that's just the kind of thing that opens us to the blessing that we are.
It's somewhere I could stay. I really feel when I'm there, I could stay there. I have to really bring it in.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm that way too. I think Ruth is too. A lot of times it's like, oh.
It is. It's a breath of relief. It's like, oh, here I am. This is the place I want to be. So much easier than everything else that we have to deal with.
Right.
But thank you. I really feel quite honoured that you had that experience, to be fair. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. It was very beautiful. And I think it is, I think what we all can sense also is the genuineness in the meditation and in everything about it, and that beautiful archangel who blessed us and you with the light language. That was really beautiful, light language. It was different from anything I've ever heard before, in a way that I think was very melodic, and it just felt really wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've heard that before, that it's very different, but it's whatever comes through, and they feel very cheerful, like they sing their way through people.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. And I was very conscious of that because I'm not really a singer myself. So to channel those sort of sounds, it was like, because it's not coming from me. This is not.
Well, it was coming through your vocal cords, and
Yeah, it was coming
and
through.
it was very beautiful, beautiful sounds, very pure. I thought just beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting with light language for me also. I've listened to a lot of it on the internet, and some of it I don't relate to at all. I just I put it on and I just can't listen to it. And I think that I think there are different reasons for that. And we've discussed some of that about different origins. I also think there are different levels of being that come through.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, yeah, because I'm the same. There's certain light language stuff. It just doesn't get my attention, or the frequency
Right.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Not to say it won't for somebody else. But
Right.
again, I agree with
Exactly.
you. I believe that's to do with your origin, the planet of origin, and what that means to you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the time when I get out my planet. I keep it in the drawer here. And it is nice to focus for a moment on sending love to the world. I know that Ruth's family can use a lot of love and support right now. Just sending it to those we love, the places where we want to send. I think supporting our local communities, I think for all of us, wherever we are, kind of as you were suggesting, Lorraine, we are where we are because there's a reason for it, and we're here. One of the reasons where we are is that we can be sources of love and light for our communities. We can be sending it out locally. We can send it out to the world globally. Whatever feels right for each of us. Always feels good to me. So any final thoughts before we share a little bit about how people can find out more about you?
I think the final is trust whatever you're given. Don't do anything you don't feel comfortable with, and embrace that spiritual journey.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And for me, just a reminder that we are all divine light, and divine light comes through each one of us in different ways. So if you're struggling with anybody, look for that divine light in them.
Right. Yeah, thank you. So to close, Lorraine, would you like to tell people more about how they can connect with you and receive blessings from you and your services? Potentially.
Yes. Obviously I'm on Facebook, so I'm Lorraine Butterfield on Facebook, so you can find me there. I do have a YouTube channel, again, Lorraine Butterfield, it's all there. And I do have a website, which is www.lorrainebutterfield.com.
Well, you keep it consistent.
Yeah, well, I'm easy to find, but it tells you there. It gives you information on the memberships I'm running at the moment, which I've got a manifesting membership running at the moment, and the full and the new moon ceremonies that I run, where we do we do an alignment, a chakra alignment into a meditation. So we've got one of those coming up on Saturday as we're coming into a new moon energy. So yeah, it's all on my website if you want to find out more about me and what I do, especially with the Akashic records, clearings and everything. Yeah, it's all there.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Ruth, would you like to share a little bit about you?
Sure. Well, Lorraine's videos are also on Enlightened World Network. Enlightened World Network is a safe community where folks come in and share their spiritual journeys. On YouTube at Enlightened World Network, we have thousands, literally thousands of videos, many meditations. We've done a free meditation every day of the year for 4 years now.
Wow.
And you can find them all there at Enlightened World Network. You can also find us at enlightenedworld.online. That's our website. And also on Facebook at Enlightened World Network.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh,
And
could I
thank
just
you.
add to that, Jane? Sorry.
Yes.
So obviously, Ruth, and I am, I'll come on a Monday and a Friday. It's when I do tarot guidance and energy guidance. So yeah, it's so if you
On
want
Enlightened World Network?
Yeah, on Enlightened World.
Oh,
yeah.
Wonderful. I'll have to check it out. Sounds wonderful. And thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
For Awakenings Institute, it's a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to creating a more loving world. And we have a free resource kit for light workers, spiritual healers, way showers, and such people. And you can find out more about it at, I have a tiny URL because our URLs are very long, tinyurl.com/spiritual-kit. And that will take you to the Awakenings Institute website where there are all kinds of things. We've had the website since the 1990s, so there's a lot there, different sections of it, and gifts for everyone. I also want to mention that there are ways that you can support the circle. One is to follow our page on Facebook. You can share this video with your friends, which is really wonderful to get the word out and to invite others to share all this love and light that we that we connect with here on the circle. And you can invite your friends to join you in the circle. I think it gives probably a little food for thought and conversation. So we welcome you to join us every week, any week. And the last thing that we do is imagine, I loved it, Lorraine, what you did about imagining the ancestors behind you and your future selves ahead of you. Just send that love and light forward into your future so that it's there for you. You can send it back to the ancestors too. Just fill your whole timeline with love and light so that it's available all the time. And so thank you. And thank you, Lorraine and Ruth, for being here. This has been wonderful. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.